Greetings, Cancer and Cancer Rising. This is your Western forecast for June 2024. The sun always draws our attention to our priorities. The sun goes into Cancer on June the 20th and stays there for those next 4 weeks. If you are a Cancer or a Cancer Rising, when the sun enters Cancer, this is when you start to light up, be more social, more outgoing, want to get out there, start new activities, new projects. And Mercury, the planet of negotiations and learning and communications, goes into Cancer on June the 17th. And creative, social, benefic Venus goes into Cancer, great for romance, great for creativity for you, on June the 16th into July. But the first 2 weeks, as we're waiting for those planets to start to really activate your rising sign or your sun sign, and you're starting to light up and getting excited about these new projects, you're still in a holding pattern the first half of the month with the sun in Gemini, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter all in Gemini in the 12th house, the sign prior to Cancer. And the 12th house can make you might be feeling like you're in a waiting period, or you're doing a lot of studying or behind the scenes work before you're ready to start launching these new projects. But before I break all this down, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe, and don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. And if you go into the description box underneath the video, you'll find direct links to book an astrology reading or to sign up for my 2-question offer. Now, even though the Sun and Mercury and Venus are in the last sector in Cancer, or, in Gemini, in the shadow sector for Cancer, the first 2 weeks. This could be really very important for a couple of reasons. Jupiter, as I would have discussed in last month's video, Jupiter seeks knowledge. It wants to expand and grow and learn. Jupiter went into Gemini May the 25th, 2024, for the first time in 12 years. And it's going to be there through the first week of June 2025. When Jupiter goes into the 12th house, the 12th house is turning within, incubation, development. This is ideal with Jupiter to pull within, to do a lot of studying, getting that degree, going back to school. The 12th house can also represents the unconscious and spiritual matters through introspection. And so you could be learning about meditation, learning about spiritual practices. So there's a lot of positive energies here that with that Jupiter in the 12th house, you could be planting seeds that takes time to learn about it, develop it, before it goes into Cancer at the beginning of June 2025, when there's a lot of growth and expansion and opportunity. Now, so there are some really good things these first 2 weeks with the Sun and Mercury, Venus in your 12th. The sun is what's important to you, what you're lighting up. And in the 12th house, maybe it's just a holding pattern. Or maybe because of Jupiter, you're starting to get more curious about learning. Mercury, the planet of information and communication in Gemini until the 17th of June. That's also great with Jupiter for education. And Venus, benefic, social, creative Venus, moving in through Gemini in the 12th house. You might be playing it more low key. You might be so busy developing projects, you're not feeling as social. But when Venus, relational Venus, goes into Cancer on June the 16th into the first part of July, this is really favorable energy for socializing, for creativity, for any type of reconciling with any kind of strain relations from the past. And with Mercury going into Cancer on June the 17th into the first part of July, then with Mercury, it's really stimulating a lot of conversations and ideas. And now the sun is where you're going into Cancer. You're really starting to get focused on maybe your new birthday cycle. Now, new projects, new beginnings. There will be a new moon on June the 6th at 16 Gemini. Venus, creative Venus, relational Venus, financial Venus, will be at 16 Gemini. So there's a major emphasis on all things Venus. But the Venus is being squared or challenged by taskmaster Saturn. And with the new moon in the 12th house, the shadow, and the first 2 weeks, the transiting Venus is in that 12th house, you might be worried, Venus-Saturn, that something is going on in your relationship. It could also be that it could be more favorable that you're realizing you have to take responsibilities and either decide to leave a relationship or to really start working on it on a really deep level. And maybe you're setting all that up and making that decisions the first half of the month. And then with Mercury, Venus, Sun going into Cancer, the last half of the month, that could be really favorable for new light, new beginnings. Now, the full moon on June the 21st, you might be feeling it the 20th to the 22nd, maybe the 23rd. But the full moon every month is bringing a lot of matters to light. Anything that's been hidden brings it to the surface. This full moon in Capricorn is going to be in your 7th house of relationships, both personally and professionally. And it's going to be in opposition to Mercury and Venus. Opposition is interacting, negotiating. Venus is cooperation and resolving and healing and loving. And the Mercury is all that negotiations. So you might be feeling really stuck the first 2 weeks with a relationship, professional, personal, but then you start to have some movement and it starts to open up around the 21st, the 22nd. Or for those who aren't in a relationship, you might have just been feeling in the 12th house the first 2 weeks isolated, lonely, bored. And then that Venus without a relationship, but with the new moon being triggered by Saturn, you might just be, that's also feeling contracted and isolated. But Venus goes into Cancer June the 16th with the Sun and Mercury into July. And this is Venus going into your sign, your rising sign or your sun sign. You're feeling more sociable, more cooperative, more loving. It can really awaken a lot of creative projects for those of you who are artists. But when it comes to romance, either that stuck lonely period starts to open up by the third week of June, and you become more social, more active, start dating. If you are been in a relationship, in a marriage, you might be really concerned about it or feel like there's no real communications the first 2 weeks of June. But then around the full moon, with the full moon falling into your 7th house of marriage and partnerships and the spouse, opposite the Mercury-Venus, now you can have some real healthy discussions to resolve, if both of you want to, anything that's been blocked or holding you back. Now, Mars is that warrior, ambitious, aggressive energy. And I talked about last month on May the 1st, it moved into your career sector through June the 8th. That could be every 2 years, a very ambitious, aggressive, launching new projects. But on June the 8th through July the 20th, the Mars goes into Taurus, which is favorable for Cancers because it's earth and water. But in Taurus, it's in the 11th house from Cancer. So there could be a lot of activity with the 11th house of networking, socializing, hanging out with friends. Professionally, could be very favorable for teamwork, collaboration. So for most of you, the month starts slow or worrisome or stuck. And then from the middle of June, especially by the third week of June with the full moon, you start to really come out of your Cancer shell. And great for business, great for relationships, great for resolving any past problems in both kinds of relationships if you both want to. Great for meeting somebody new, or just, becoming so much more socially active more by the end of June. I want to thank you for watching. If you like information on how to book an astrology reading or to sign up for my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.go. That's .co. Until next month, be safe and well.